Hello everyone, this is Monday's maths lesson and today we'll be learning how to measure length accurately. I have a little PowerPoint to share with you, which I'll just bring up now. There we go, and we'll go from the beginning to get there, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. So, like I said, today we are learning how to measure length accurately. When we measure length, we measure how long something is. That could be the length of a throw, the length of something tiny, like how long an ant is, the length of a table, the length of a bridge, a bat, a fence, or even something really long, like an aeroplane flight or a journey of some kind. We measure using units of length. These can either be non-standard. You will have done some practice with this in year 1. Do you remember using cubes to measure how long something was? We could use hands. My hand is a different size to your hand, isn't it? But as long as you use the same unit for your measurement, it will be accurate for you. We could use pencils, feet, or even paper clips. There was somebody last week in a Zoom meeting I set a challenge for to see if they could work out how many paper clips tall they were. I wonder if they've managed that challenge yet. Or we could use standard units. Standard units are the same no matter where you are. For example, a builder, they would use the same units of measure as somebody making a dress at home. If we wanted to measure something very small with standard units, we would use millimetres, like the length of an ant, for example. You might also use centimetres. There are 10 millimetres in 1 centimetre. We'll have a look at centimetres in a bit more detail in a moment. To measure something a little bit longer, maybe the length of the playground or how long your garden is, you might measure in metres. Or to measure something really long, like a big long car journey or a flight, we would measure in kilometres. In this country, we also have miles, which is another measure of long distances, like car journeys and things like that. So we're going to have a go today at measuring accurately with a very special piece of equipment. We're going to be using rulers. There are 2 rulers on the screen here. The top one here, where my cursor is the sort of ruler that you might have used in school. We are going to be measuring in centimetres today. And on my ruler, each centimetre is a different coloured stripe. So from the starting line to the ending line of that bar is 1 centimetre. Then we've got 2 centimetres to the end of the next bar. You might not have one of those rulers at home. The rulers you have at home might look more like this bottom one here. That's fine. No matter which ruler you have, the centimetres will be the same because they are standard units. A centimetre is always a centimetre. So if I line my rulers up here, look, you can see from the starting line to the end of that centimetre, so these longer lines here, is the same as my bar on this ruler here, 1 centimetre, 1 centimetre. You might notice on the one at the bottom, there are other units of measure as well, particularly if we look at these ones here, these little lines in between the centimetres. Remember, the centimetres are numbered. These little lines are millimetres. Do you remember how many millimetres I said were in a centimetre? It was 10, wasn't it? So if we count carefully with these lines, you should see there are 10 millimetres in every centimetre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So those little lines in between are millimetres. That's important for some children later on. Don't worry about it, everybody else is fine. But just so you know, the centimetres are the longer lines that are numbered. Okay, if you've got a ruler like that at home. The other side is inches. That's another unit. Don't worry about that today. You're looking at centimetres and it will tell you on the ruler because it will have cm, centimetres. All right then, let's do some measuring. So I've got this ruler to start with, like the ones we have at school. I've got one here that we might use in a minute. Okay, so if you've got one like that, that's great. If not, I'll show you the other ruler in a moment. So, how long is this pencil? Now, look carefully. I have lined my ruler up really carefully so that the end of the ruler, so the starting line of my centimetre, is at the end of the object I am trying to measure. That's really important. You don't want it further off, or you don't want the ruler higher up on the object. You want it right lined up with the edge. And then I'm going to look along to see how long my pencil is. So where the tip is, what number is that lined up with? I've drawn some lines on here to help you look. So here it is. It's in line with the edge of this bar, the far end. So that is 10 centimetres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 centimetres long. Okay, have a go at this one. I'm going to bring the pencil up on the screen. It's a bit shorter this time. I'm also going to bring up those little guidelines to help you. Remember, when you're measuring things, to start at the end of the object, like I have done on the screen here. Here's where my line finishes, where my pencil finishes, sorry. Here's the line. How many centimetres is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 centimetres. That's 4 centimetres long. Okay. Now you might have these rulers at home. That's absolutely fine, but there is one very important thing that you must remember. You do not measure from the end of the ruler unless that is the very start of the measurements. Can you see on mine here? I've got a little gap. My centimetres, my measurements start from this line here at the 0. Okay, so when I'm measuring something, I need to make sure that that object is lined up with this starting line, not the edge of the ruler. Okay, so here's my pencil lined up with the start of the centimetres where the 0 is. Okay, and this time, don't worry about those millimetres. Remember, you're looking at the long lines with the numbers on. So how long do you think this pencil is? So find the tip, come down. I'll put those lines on again to help you. How long is this pencil? Can you see? Here's the line. There's the tip of the pencil. It's all lined up. Here's the long centimetre line. It's 7 centimetres. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 centimetres long. Well done if you got that one. I've got one more to show you. In the OneDrive folder, there are 2 sheets for you to try. It's up to you which one you want. There is a slightly easier sheet which just measures full centimetres like we have just been doing together here. Or you can have a go at a slightly harder sheet which involves using half centimetres. So let's have a look at this pencil. So if you're up for a challenge, this one's for you. Again, I've made sure, haven't I, look, I'm not at the start of the ruler this time because with these rulers, the centimetres don't start till the 0 line here. So I've made sure I've lined my pencil up really carefully, but have a look at the tip of my pencil. It's gone past the 10, hasn't it? But it hasn't got to the 11. Let me draw those lines back on. Here we go. Right, so here, it's come to this midway point. Do you remember how many millimetres are in a centimetre? That's right, it was 10, wasn't it? Let's see how many past the 10 we are. So here's our 10 centimetres, and then we've got how many millimetres? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 millimetres, that's half a centimetre, isn't it? So you can write that as 10.5 centimetres. 10 centimetres and 5 millimetres is what it basically means. 10.5 centimetres, 10.5. Okay, now, your main task today is going to involve drawing lines. So we've had to go at measuring objects there, but the sheets in the OneDrive involve you drawing lines of the correct length. So I'm just going to close this now. There we go. There we are. Right, and on my board, I'm going to show you how to use a ruler to draw a line. Now that sounds really easy, but you've got to remember all those things about measuring accurately, starting at the starting line for the centimetres, making sure you go all the way to the end of the bar or all the way to the next centimetre so you've got the right measurement. So I'm going to start with one like we have in school in case anybody has those at home. They're slightly easier to use because it is the end of the ruler. That's where you start. So if I wanted to draw a line that was 10 centimetres long, if I move my ruler in close like that, I need to start here and I'm going to draw my line all the way along, leaning the pencil along the edge of the ruler so it's nice and straight, all the way to the end of the 10 stripe here, the end of it, not the start, the end, okay? Because remember, all of that is 1 centimetre. Okay, if I did it to here, it would only be 9 centimetres. I'd be missing off a whole centimetre. Okay, so to draw that line, it's a bit tricky for me at an angle. I'm going to hold my ruler flat. You'll have your sheet flat on the table to keep it nice and straight. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a line 10 centimetres long. So where do I need to start again? Am I okay to start all the way over here? Am I okay to start past the ruler on this end? I need to make sure, don't I, that I start at the very start and I'm going to go all the way along, being very careful, making sure I go past that 9 to the end of that green 10 stripe. Okay, and then I'm going to stop. You see, there's my 10 centimetre line. I've made sure I've gone to the end of that 10 line. Okay, that's one of those rulers. It's more likely, I would have thought, that you have a ruler that looks a little bit, make sure I've got it the right way up, a little bit more like this one, okay? So, if I bring that up to the screen, my centimetres are still centimetres, it's still the same length, it's still the same unit, but this time I've got those numbered lines again to show me where the centimetres are. And in between, I've got those 10 little millimetre lines, sorry. Okay, so again, I want a 10 centimetre line, so I need to find where the 10 line is, just here. And I'm going to make sure I'm not going to start at the start of the ruler this time, remember. I'm going to start at the start of the centimetres here, where that line is, where the 0 is, okay? So again, it's exactly the same as before. I'm going to hold my ruler. I'm going to make sure I start in the right place, so where the centimetres start. And then I'm going to draw all the way to the 10 there. Okay? You see they're the same length? Okay? So 10 centimetres. If one of my questions is to draw to 1/2 centimetre, then remember there are 10 millimetres in a centimetre. So 1/2 centimetre is 5 millimetres. So I find how many centimetres I want, 10.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I count those, I count those very little lines in between, okay? That would be how I work out millimetres as well. Some of you, if you choose the challenge sheet, will be doing 10.5 or 9.5. There'll be a 0.5. That 0.5, remember, is telling you how many millimetres. The other job, if you fancy it today, there are some challenge cards in there. And they're really lovely practical activities. So you can go and measure things around the house or find things that are longer than a book or shorter than a shoe or all sorts of lovely measuring activities that you can have a go at as well. So if you get this sheet done and you think, oh, I could do a bit more of that, or perhaps you want to start with the practical activities first to get used to the idea of measuring and using different units, then use the activity cards as well because they're there to make this fun. Okay? Have a really good go and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.